Hey, welcome to the Hell Has an Exit podcast. I'm your host, Bryan Alzate. This show is not affiliated with any specific 12-step program. If you or a loved one is struggling with an addiction, please find a local 12-step meeting. If you believe you may need detox or drug treatment of any kind, please call 833-999-1877 to speak to a specialist. The show is sponsored by United Recovery Project, a state-of-the-art drug and alcohol rehab facility. You can visit our website at unitedrecoveryproject.com. Hey, welcome to Hell Has an Exit. I'm your host, Bryan Alzate. On this show, we interview a lot of recovering addicts, people who have overcame adversity and found a way out of hell. And today I have Karyl. So Karyl, I've known you basically since I've been clean. Gotten to know you a little more and more as the years have gone by. You have 22 years clean?
Yes.
So where are you from?
Born and raised in Jamaica. Not cool. Jamaica, Queens. Jamaica, West Indies.
Jamaica, okay.
Yeah. I came to the States when I was like 16.
Oh, wow. So you grew up in Jamaica.
I grew up there.
How was that?
Tough. I mean, I had a good home. You know, my aunt was a teacher. My parents died when I was little. So I went to live with an aunt or whatever. She was a teacher. Churchy, all that. She was abusive. She was tough. But she taught me like all the basics, how to eat with a knife and fork, because my mom, she didn't care. You can eat with a spoon for all she cared. She had 10 kids.
Wow, you're 1 of 10?
I'm the baby.
Wow.
I'm the last one.
Wow.
And the only recovering addict in my family.
Are there any other addicts?
Hell yes.
Yeah, okay. So you're the only one who's clean?
I'm the only one who's clean. The only one who says she has a problem.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you came to New York when you were 16?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Culture shock, for sure. You know, in Jamaica, I was more church and school. That's it. So when we moved to the States, you know, my aunt worked like in the suburbs or whatever. We lived in the city. She was gone all the time. I let loose.
When did you start like acting out?
Well, I've been always acting out. I was acting out even when I was 2 years old. You know, I stole for the first time at 2. I didn't even understand what money was or what to do with money, but I saw it and I took it.
Yeah.
My mother, she was still alive. My mom died when I was 7. So she's like, who took the money? Who took the money? I'm like, not me. And I'm sitting on it.
Yeah.
Why are your hands under you? And she found the $2. I got it beaten. But I don't know why I took it.
So who raised you?
My aunt, one of my mom's sisters.
So your aunt raised you? What was your relationship like with your dad?
My dad died when I was 5.
Wow.
So I had no parents. I grew up
with no
parents, but I had a bunch of siblings. And my mother...
How old is your oldest sibling?
My oldest sibling passed away at 71.
Wow.
Yeah. He just died last year. My oldest
How much older are they?
Like 20 years.
20 years?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. So they were pretty grown when you were young.
Yeah.
So basically you were raised from your aunt and like your oldest sibling.
No, my older siblings didn't raise me. They didn't really have to raise me because my aunt took full control.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Once my parents died, my aunt took full control. I mean, she raised us well. She raised my sister and I. She raised us well. I went to really good schools. I got a really great education, but she was strict.
When do you start using?
My first time using, I was probably like 9, and I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue what it was. There was just some boy hanging out at my school. He didn't even go to my school, some grown-ass boy. And I went to Catholic schools. I'm not Catholic.
Yeah.
No, not in New York. In
Jamaica. Okay.
I went to Catholic primary school, which is like elementary, and then straight to another Catholic high school. So outside my school, there's this guy, and he's like, here. He just hands it to me, a joint, and I smoked it. You know, he just told me what to do, and I smoked it. I felt dizzy. You know, my eyes were red. I got in trouble. Like, why are your eyes red? I'm like, I don't know. But that was my first real experience with like a real substance. Yeah. Like a substance, period. But don't get me wrong, Bryan. Before my father even died, like he's a musician. You know, my father is a singer. And he would have these parties in our yard and all his friends would be there and they'd all be drunk, all fucked up. And I know what it looks like. I never, you know, they would give me some rum punch and whatever. And it's red and it's sweet. Like I would drink it as a little kid, but I didn't know that. So, you know, I'd get in trouble if I'm like, Papa, look. And I'm like turning around, acting like a drunk person. He didn't like it.
Oh, wow.
So I knew that red thing that they drank made them drunk, even though I didn't get drunk.
Yeah. So you smoke weed for the first time at 9?
Around 9, yeah.
And then when did it start becoming like a habit? Did you keep smoking weed?
No, that was the one time.
Gotcha.
At that age, I got into coke when I was around 18. I had already moved to the States. I'm hanging out with my friends and whatever. We'd go to the gay club. I'm gay. I'm gay.
Okay.
I'm undercover gay.
Okay, so when did you come out?
I came out when I got clean.
Wow.
Yes.
So you were undercover this whole time?
The whole time. That's why I have kids.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
you have, yeah.
Yeah,
I never
that's
even
why I
thought
have
about
children.
that.
Yeah,
I was like,
I
wow.
have children because
Wow.
I was a closeted gay person.
Wow. So wait. So you lived in Jamaica and you used there a couple of times, but you didn't really start using until you were like 18 in college in New York.
Yeah, not college. I didn't do college.
Okay, 18.
18. So we're all hanging out. Every Saturday we go to the gay club and I'm getting ready and everybody's in the bathroom. And I'm like, why are they in the bathroom? So I opened the door. I'm like, what y'all doing? And I saw the coke. I knew it was coke because
What year was this?
it was 88.
All right.
The summer of 88.
So, I like history. Like, what was 1988 like in New York back then in the club scene?
It was cool.
What were people doing?
It was cool. I was 18. You can't get into a club at 18, but I was getting in. I mean, they didn't really card or whatever. If you looked the part, you come on in, It was just really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What type of music was coming out back then?
House.
Okay.
Yeah. House music.
Like Duran Duran?
Well, we listened to talk about Duran Duran.
That's all I know.
That was all MTV. Yeah. But yeah, Duran Duran, cool. But like the club scene.
Pat Benatar?
That was 80s. Yeah.
Okay.
But the club scene was like different. Like I went to...
The club scene was like house music.
It was total house music and like underground and stuff like that. I bet you never heard of Sweet Pussy Pauline. Exactly.
Okay.
Underground.
Underground? So
nice.
You went to a lot. You were like a club girl?
Yes. Till I got clean.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, hang on. So what was it like when you first started doing coke? All the girls in the bathroom, you go in there and you're like, what's going on?
I'm like,
put you on.
what y'all doing? And they're like, oh, no, you don't want any of this. Because they knew I've never done coke.
Yeah.
But I had seen the movie Less Than Zero. Like, that was one of my favorite movies.
Wow.
So I knew what it was. I'm like, I want some. Just like that.
Wow.
And the minute I did it, I had to have it every weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
So what happens in the rest of your story?
Number one, I'm Jamaican. I was raised religious. I was raised intellectually, right? Use your brain. And everything in me knew that I was fucked. The minute I did it, I thought, oh, this is so much fun. This is so much fun. Summer of 88 was the first time I did coke. Between 88 and 89, I OD'd on heroin. I'm not a heroin user, but...
It was laced?
No. I was, partying.
Yeah.
Partying.
Okay.
At my apartment at the time, my very first apartment. By this time, I'm in Chicago.
What are you doing for work?
I was working for a cleaning service.
Okay.
Yeah. She taught me everything I know.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was working for this cleaning service. I was making like $30 a day, but I still had a coke habit. I had this friend, this Nigerian guy, my connect, hooked me up, gave me a bunch of coke one Friday night. I had a girl over and we were like getting high and, whatever. And we ran out at like 3 a.m. And she's like, oh, I could get stuff. She makes a call. She's like, oh, my middle name is Ann. So she's like, Ann, no girl, but there's boy. I had no clue what was girl or boy. I had no experience. So it was boy, it was heroin. She gets it. I start getting high and I'm thinking it's coke. It looks like coke. And I'm doing it like I'm snorting heroin like I snort coke, and I OD'd. I was in the hospital for like 2 weeks.
She didn't explain to you like this is totally different?
She thought I knew what I was doing. Because she's like, girl, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm good. She never explained what's boy or girl because I felt stupid.
Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it was white. It had the crystals. It looked just like coke.
Wow. So you overdosed for the first time?
I overdosed my first and only OD that I know of. I was hospitalized for like 2 weeks. I was in a coma. My family was making like funeral arrangements and everything. Wow. Yeah. I had a tray, that thing.
To help you breathe.
Yeah.
So then what happens later
So I get out of the hospital. Everybody's saying I'm lucky. I'm lucky to be alive. I could barely breathe. I had pneumonia or whatever while I was in a coma. And I'm breathing barely. And I wanted to still smoke cigarettes. And I'm like, where's the coke? Kept using. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit. So this is 89 that this happened, like November. Fast forward, kept doing coke and whatever, discovered crack in a little motel in Detroit. Party girl, right? I'm always in the clubs. No matter where I go, I go
Like
to the
dancing?
club.
Is that what it is? You're a dancer?
I'm a dancer.
I didn't know
love
that.
music. Yeah.
Oh, you know what you love is you love musicals.
I love musicals.
That's so
because
funny.
that's meditative for me, but I love dancing.
You love dancing.
I love music.
Okay, so you're in this party in
So
Detroit.
I'm partying and
How'd you
I
end up
met,
in Detroit?
Yeah, Detroit, running away from my problems in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working for this lady. She was really cool. She taught me everything I know, with cleaning and how to do it professionally and whatever. I fucked her over. Left and went to Detroit. Didn't know anybody in Detroit. I just picked a place. I'm like, yep, $27. I can afford that.
Wow.
So I went to Detroit, ended up in a homeless shelter.
How old?
How old was I? 22.
Okay.
Yeah. So I ended up in a homeless shelter. That's where I got pregnant with my first son. You know Jason. You met Jason. But I was partying. I met this guy and he's like, you get high? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you want to get turned on? I'm like, yeah. Because that's what we called it back then. I'll turn you on. That means, they'll give you a bump or something. So shit that he pulls out, I'm like, I don't do that, because it was all rocked up.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's Ready Rock. That's what we called it
Ready
in
Rock?
Chicago.
Okay.
Ready Rock. And I'm like, I don't do Ready Rock. Because people who did Ready
We're
Rock.
homeless.
They were homeless. They were bitches with like head wraps and head rags and flip flops and dirty feet coming into the club, like looking for the dope dealer.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh. And like, I became that.
Wow.
I became that one hit and I was fucked.
Yeah, I remember the first time I smoked. I instantly knew that I would struggle with this for the rest of my life. Like, I had enough self-awareness to know that, like, I couldn't even stop doing coke. Like, I couldn't imagine having money on me and nobody around and not getting it. Like, I just was like, you really do feel like you fucked up your whole life.
Yeah, because from that moment on, Brian, there were no breaks. There was no, I'll just do it on the weekends or I'll just do it when I go party, clubbing. Nope, always had to have it.
So what was your story like after that?
PostCrack?
No, using.
Oh, my story is, so I get pregnant in 92. I got pregnant with my first son in 92. I got pregnant in Detroit. Didn't know who the father was because I fucked around a lot. I fucked where the drugs were. That was it. So I got pregnant with my son. I was going to have an abortion or whatever. My sister-in-law talks me out of it. I left Detroit, went to Jersey, back to family. People I knew.
Now, what's going on with your family? Are they trying to help you?
No.
Do they know that you're using like hard?
I lied to them. Everything was always good. Even when I OD'd that one time, I'm like, oh no, I don't do drugs like that. It's something, she gave me something. When I came out, I lied. I told them, this girl fucked me over, but I got away with it for a couple of years until I started getting high in New Jersey where a lot of my family was. And I had two brothers that got high too. So I got high with them. Because I got close to those two brothers, my family knew. Like, what the fuck is Ann doing hanging out with Andy and Arthur?
So they knew you were smoking.
They knew I was doing something.
Okay.
Because I'm quiet. Normally, I'm quiet. I'm shy. I'm reserved, right? I was taught to be that way. But on coke, I'm like wilding out. Like,
yeah. How did the downward spiral go?
Brian, the downward spiral, shit. My deal was hook up with a dope dealer, right? I'm pretty, whatever.
Yeah, I wish I was a girl when I was using. I would have had it made.
No, you don't have it made, babe.
Just messing with you.
No, you don't have it made. That shit is whack. So I freaking hooked up with this guy. Well, I lived in this particular area in New Jersey. I lived in South Jersey, Perth Amboy. And I lived close to the dope block. This guy, he, woos me, gets me to be his girlfriend or whatever, but he's a dope dealer. He needs to live where I am so he can
serve
sell.
Everyone.
So he can serve over. Yeah, you know your shit.
I know.
Right. I'm with him and I smoke up all his shit all the time or whatever, but he never hit me. He just was like, whatever, that's my rent, I guess. So my disease got worse. By this time I have my son. Jason is like 1. We got kicked out of the apartment because my landlord found out, there's this dope dealer living there. He's beating up, his runners and shit, beating him on the stairs. Just like crazy life. So he's like, no, I don't want your money. You got to go. ended up homeless again with my son. But in New Jersey, it's okay to be homeless, kind of, because like you can go to welfare and they'll put you up. So I got put up in like a welfare motel on 1 and 9 in New Jersey. The Gem, can I say the name? The Gem fucking motel.
That's what it is?
Yeah, and I got busted there. And that's my downward spiral. Distribution.
Okay.
Attempted distribution.
Yeah, okay.
To an undercover cop.
Okay.
Like I didn't know any better. You know, I'm just trying to get high. So if I serve somebody, then I get broken off. That's the life I was living. Hustle. Okay. Yeah, that's the life I was living in that homeless motel where almost everybody was smoking crack. Yeah, it was crazy. And I can't believe I ended up there. But I did. I ended up there. This Catholic school raised girl with fucking morals and straight-laced and sit up straight and be a lady. I was fucking and sucking and selling whatever. So I got arrested. And that's still, my oldest is 28. That's still wreckage of my past. I'm still dealing with it.
So what happens when you get out of jail?
You know, of course, I promised everything was going to be cool, but I lost custody of my son. I lost custody of Jason to my aunt. And that just freed me up to like just get high and party. So that's what I did. I got high and I partied for the next 6 years.
And then you got clean?
I got clean in 99.
What like event led you to getting clean? Like, did you know people that were clean?
No. I had a sugar daddy. By this time, I'm in Florida. Right? Because my family is like, okay, you're fucked up in New Jersey. We need you to go to Florida to your sister and you guys can live together. She'll keep you straight, because they really thought it was my friends. They're like, you hang out with fucked up people. Of course, they get high. You know, I want to be fucked up with them. So I come to Florida to live with my sister, and the first person I meet is a crackhead. You know, a couple more years, I got high. And then, so I met this sugar daddy guy. You know, he's an older guy. And he had money, and he thought I was younger than I was, and he wanted to keep me, so he kept me. I had my little apartment or whatever, and he would give me like my allowance every Wednesday. Of course, there was never any food in the fridge. I tried to keep my hair done and stuff to, you know, look appealing. I just never had shit. And one night, I remember, it was like a Sunday night, Brian, and like, look, I don't care what time of the day I left my house. I could leave my house at 3 a.m. and I'm getting something. Yeah. With no money. Yeah. This Sunday night, I left my house. I had no money. I had a skirt on, like a black skirt on that was slit from here to there, you know, because, you know, I'm trying to make money or trying to get something.
And what part of Miami? Is this Miami?
No, dude. That was Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, wow. Right off of can I say it? 19th and 441.
Okay.
Yeah. And I thought I was living in like the lap of luxury in Sandal Grove. You know, they had like a gated entrance like, and whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm rich. But no, crack community. It's just all cracked out over there. So this Sunday night, I leave my house and I think I'm looking cute and fresh. I'm like, I'll get something. You know, I had my crack pipe in my bra and like a brown paper bag. I always had a brown paper bag. It was like my purse. I had my lighter in there. Yeah, it's for real. Yeah. A brown paper bag was my pocketbook. I had my cigarettes in there, a pusher. If you smoke crack, you know what a pusher is. So I had my cigarettes, a pusher, and a lighter in that bag. So I'm fucking walking down the street and nobody will pick me up. And I'm not trying to be cocky. Just the way I dressed and the way I did, like I was used to getting picked up. Yeah. And for some reason, no one was picking me up that night, right? In desperation, I reached out. I saw a BSO guy on the, you know, he was parked like by these warehouses. And I'm like, hi.
Wow,
like, hey,
to a cop?
Yeah, I went to the cop. And I'm
Has that worked before?
No.
Okay.
I went to this cop and I'm like, hi, so I need a ride. And he's like, yeah, where are you going? I'm like, oh, over there. And I named the intersection 19th and 19th. I knew that if I got to that dope house, if I got there, like, dude was going to break me off. Yeah. No money, no nothing. You know, I have my moneymaker, right? I have my coochie. It's my moneymaker. Okay. It's all good. Yeah. I asked the guy for a ride to this place and he's like, hey, what are you doing over there? You can't be going to buy drugs, are you? I'm like, drugs? Officer, do I look like I do drugs? And he's like, listen, I'll take you anywhere you want to go if you let me run your name. I couldn't let him run my name, Brian. Like, jail is a part of my story. And at that time, I don't think I had fulfilled my requirements for New Jersey because I got out on my own recognizance, on probation, all that stuff. So I was kind of scared. I've been arrested a couple of times. So that night, I gave him a fake name. He's like, stop messing with me. That's not you. I gave him a fake, I just kept shooting fake shit. And he's like, listen, you stand right here. I think you're doing drugs or something. I'm going to get a female officer out here to search you and whatever. So I got a little nervous. And I'm just standing there, Brian. He's over here. And then another cop car pulls up, but it's a guy. It's another male. So I'm like, oh, I'm cool. I'm good. And in that exchange, they're standing there talking to one another.
When the second cop car pulls up, it's never good.
Right. But I don't know.
Yeah, you're like, whatever.
I don't know. And plus I was fucking fiending. I was fiending for drugs. And I'm cocky. I feel like I'm good. So he's standing there. I'm in the middle. I'm between these two cars. And my cop had his window a little bit rolled down. And I threw my shit.
In his car?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Stupid. I say stupid, but it's a God thing because that's kind of what started my journey to get clean, to like let that shit go. Needless to say, he saw it peripherally. He saw it and he's like, hey, what's that? What did you throw in my car? I'm like, nothing. He finds my crack pipe. It's this big, wrapped in tissue. He laughs. He tests it. He found drugs that I couldn't even fucking find. But so I got arrested. And that was my last time I got arrested. That one night that I did, I've done months. I've done 9 months. I've done 6 months. I did 30 days. But that one night, November 98, I got arrested for the last time. And I did one night because, Sugar Daddy bailed me out. He bonded me out. And he bonded me out. And he was like, you want one for the road? I'm like, yeah, sure. Because he thought I was a casual user. Yeah. Because when he came around...
Like doing coke or something.
Well, I don't even know if he knew what I did. But, I tried to keep it a little bit together. So he thought I was casual. I'm not homeless. I'm not foot dragging or, I'm pretty. He could still carry me around his friends or whatever. That was my last time in jail, man. And something about that one night in jail, I'm like, I don't want to fucking come back here. I'm never coming back here. But I used until, and let me tell you, the turning point for me really was when someone said, I was pregnant. By this time, I'm pregnant with Justin. Justin. Yeah. So I'm pregnant with Justin. No, I got to tell you, New Year's Eve, December 31st, 98, I'm in a room getting high with my friend Keisha. My friend Keisha. We're getting high. And at midnight, she's like, put the pipe down. And I'm like, what? We had a bunch of drugs on the table. She's like, let's put the pipe down and pray. At that point, I didn't know how to pray. God and me, not friends, whatever. You fucked me. I'm not dealing with you. And she's praying and she's like, dear God, please help us. It's 1998. It's 1999. We're two young, pretty girls, out here. Do something. Please help us. And she's saying this prayer.
Was she religious or high?
She was high as fuck.
Yeah. Because I've seen people smoke crack and get real religious.
She was high as fuck.
Was she like that though?
I don't know if she was religious. I don't think she ever went to church or whatever. But I do know this. She came from a good home. By the end of our road, she was selling pussy to this like 500-pound man. Anyway, just the whole disgusting scene. She said this prayer and whatever, and I'm like, yeah, she's done. She's done praying. 2 weeks after that, Keisha comes to my house, and she's like, hey, I'm pregnant. I'm like, what? I'm like, wow, do you know whose it is? And I'm like, come on, let's go get something, right? So we went and got something. For the next 2 weeks, she came to my house with a fucking thing that she put on her belly. Like every time she got high, she would put this thing on her belly and a stethoscope and listen to see if she could hear the heartbeat. And Brian, no shit, a month later, I realized I hadn't got my period. But I was getting so high, like it didn't matter to me whether I got it or not. That's an inconvenience. I can't work. I can't make money with that. So it was cool to not have it. Realized I'm pregnant. And I was pregnant with Justin. Yeah. The end of my shit really was this. Some crackhead told me, like, dude that I was buying from, he wouldn't sell to me anymore. He's like, you're pregnant. He's like, I can't sell to you. He's like, I got kids. So he wouldn't sell to me.
Yeah, a lot of people don't see that because a lot of times people see like crackheads and they just like see them as like animals. And it's like, even me, like there's times where I've seen a lot of sympathy and empathy and like kindness from drug dealers.
Yeah.
And more than I would show them. You know what I mean? Right. So I would rob them, all sorts of shit. And it's like a lot of times when people see like crackheads on the street, like to me, I still see that there's potential and like these, like I believe they can get clean. Even the worst people have been using for like 20 years, like, because I see it all the time in NA. Yeah. In recovery, it's cool to hear like that a drug dealer is like, no, I'm not selling to someone who's pregnant.
Yeah, I would have to go out of the area, and he was a cool guy because he would bring it to me, but I would have to start traveling to go get it. Yeah, he was like, I'm not selling to you, Ann. You're pregnant. Then this other girl that I'm getting high with, she's like, what are you going to do with that baby? If you have that baby and the baby is dirty, you could get arrested. And that's all I needed to hear, that I could get arrested.
You didn't want to go to jail?
I did not ever want to go to jail, ever again. So I'm like, fuck. And I remember I had gone to detox once. Okay. In Broward. Sugar daddy was threatening to leave me. He was threatening to leave me or whatever, or stop paying the bills. And I'm like, I'll go get help. And I went to detox for like 3 days and I heard nothing. It didn't dawn on me that I had a problem. I just needed to, chill out for a few days and then go back and get high, like a normal person. Yeah. So it never worked. So I knew where to go. And I'm not going to say the name, but I went to a detox and I asked them, can I come here? I told them I was pregnant. They're like, oh yeah. They sent me to a hospital to get the actual pregnancy test. And that's where my fucking story began. My real story, because I walked into that detox. I just have to tell you this one little detail because it's crazy. So remember that night I asked the police for a ride? So here I am. I got my clearance to go to detox. They told me to come back the next day. So I'm like, okay, one last hurrah. And I'm in this apartment. It's so hot. The freaking lights are turned off. The girl has a newborn baby. Like, she's asking me to watch this baby while she goes to cop. And then she comes back and she's not giving me shit. And I'm like, fuck you. Watch this. I'm going to go out there, make my fucking money, come back and smoke in your face. Brian, I walked outside. The first car that stopped for me, the guy's like, hey, what can I do for you? I'm like, you got money? Yeah. He was like, I do have money, but if you want to eat something, I'll go get you something to eat. And I'm looking in the car and the floorboards are like eating out and whatever. I'm like, I'm not going to get any real money from this dude. I'll take the food. He goes into 7-Eleven. He buys me a sandwich. He's like, anywhere else I could take you? And out of my mouth just comes, yeah, take me to detox. I didn't say detox. No, you said the place. I said the address and whatever. And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. And by that time, it's like 4 a.m, 5 a.m. And I sat at detox. I laid on the bench and I stayed there until they opened up. Wow. And that was my last day using, April 14th. Wow. Yeah, 99.
And then how's your journey been since then?
My journey has been, it's been amazing.
Well, like, so when you went to detox, like, how did you, like, find out about, like, the rooms and, like, what, like, inspired you to, like, stay clean? Like, because I know it wasn't just, like, a one day, like, thing, you know? So what happened?
I didn't want to stay clean, Brian. Yeah. I went to detox because I was trying to not go to jail. I had a court case coming up. I knew I had to go to court sometime in May. So I wanted to just clean up, go to court and present my case. I'm like, I used to get high. I used to do drugs, but I'm in detox, and 2 days in, this old lady, she's my caseworker or whatever. They take your notes and she's like, so what are you going to do after this? I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, well, I'm going to suggest that you go to this place. It was an in-house treatment. And she says, you're going to stay there until you have your baby. That's my suggestion. That's my recommendation. By this time, Sugar Daddy was kind of fed up anyway. He had stopped paying the rent. He told me I should leave. He was done with me. But I really thought he wasn't. He's just trying to, do this tough love thing. So I figured if I do the little detox thing and go to treatment, then he'd take me back. Yeah. So I leave the detox and I was 4 months pregnant. So I did 5 months in rehab. And I tried to get put out of there every single time. I did. When it was quiet time, I was the loudest. Yeah. When, I'm walking through the halls and you don't know me as this person, I was angry. I was belligerent. I was pissed. And I would walk through the halls like this. Fuck you, fuck you. And I don't remember that. Someone else told me. Old man Jerry, he just died. Yeah, wow. You know Jerry? Yeah. Jamaican Jerry? Jerry, there are like 3 of us now that were in rehab together. Wow. One of them passed. So he told me, he's like, damn, you went from this to this. Before I left rehab, I was giving people the peace sign. They're like, what's up, Kay? I'm like, peace.
Yeah.
Instead of,
Fuck you.
yeah. My journey is basic, Brian. I listened to everything they told me to do. That's what I did, because I really didn't know. I had no interest in staying clean. It was just to have this clean baby and be, you know, and get on with my life and use like a regular person. I didn't know I was an addict just yet. I'm in freaking rehab. We have all these groups. They mean nothing to me. We have all these whatever individuals, mean nothing to me. This pretty ass girl comes in, pretty as fuck. Real cute girl. She comes in with H&I. She's everything I want to be. You know, she smells good. She looks good. She's happy, you know, nice body, nice clothes. And she told my story pretty much. She told the part about, you know, selling her coochie for little or nothing, coming from a decent home, ending up homeless and helpless on the street, helpless and hopeless on the street. Like, that was my main attraction, that she smelled good and she looked good. And she came from where I came from. And I got a little bit of inkling of hope. I don't know if I could say H&I, but I heard the message and I started to believe them. You know, I mean, you can't make up stuff like that.
Yeah.
Their experience, strength, and hope was just like mine.
And there was like so many. You know.
And so many. It was repetitious. You know, it was like every Monday and every Wednesday. So that's where my hope came in, that, okay, all right, maybe I'm an addict. Maybe I have a problem. Because I tried. I wanted to get high. I got out on a pass one day and I went looking for dude, like this one guy that I knew would give me something. He was not there.
Wow.
And he owned a store in the plaza. And he wasn't there. He's always there. He wasn't there that Sunday. So I feel like, you know, God was looking out for me. He looked out for me when I got arrested by that stupid ass cop. I'm sorry, Deputy Lowe's. I got arrested that night, right? And then that morning, when the guy who gave me a ride he wasn't trying to buy any coochie. He was just trying to be a good Samaritan. He was a good Samaritan. I got saved. And then I basically just started listening to what people told me and just doing what they told me to do. And I did that for the first 5 years clean.
Wow. Like, when did you start going to meetings and start, like, you know, realizing like the benefits of like recovery and like actually staying clean and like changing your life? Okay,
so from rehab, I went to a halfway. And the requirements were pretty tough. If you want to go anywhere, get any privileges or whatever, you have to do 90 meetings in 90 days, 90 12-step meetings in 90 days. And we had to get the paper signed. So here I am. My kid is like 3 days old. I'm in this place.
Wow, and you have your kid with you?
Yeah.
In the halfway?
Yeah.
So it's like a halfway for pregnant women?
It's a place for women and children. Yeah, wow. Pregnant women, women with kids and whatever. In that place, I already knew. I had heard it, like get a sponsor. And plus some dude, I don't know if you remember Joey. And
Joey and Cheryl?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Joey said one thing and it stuck in my brain. He's like, when you guys leave here, he's like, who's leaving here within a week? He's like, you have to know what you're going to do when you leave here. And I'm like, I know what I'm going to do. By that time, I knew what I was going to do because I was going to be in another place. So thank God that I was, because I had structure. And I'm a good rule follower. I was raised that way. I was raised strict. To follow the rules. Just do what the fuck you're supposed to do and everything will be all right. And that's what I did. So I go to my first meeting. I don't know if this is for me or whatever, because it was at the 530 group. And back then it was at a different place. And I'm like, I don't have much in common with these people.
It's in the hood. Yeah.
Right. It was totally hood.
Wow.
And come on now. Yeah. Like, I got high in the hood.
Yeah.
Like, I would go to the hood dressed like a secretary, right? Because I want to put on this front. I'm dressed all nice shoes and everything. And I go Friday night with my like $100 or whatever. And by the time I leave, my 9 West shoes, my whatever it is I was wearing and thinking I'm so cute was left in the crack house and I'm walking out barefoot. And then I want to go to this meeting and like judge people, you know, disease. But either way, so I go. And what kept me going is I heard the secretary's report and they had dances.
Wow.
Like, we could party.
I never heard anyone say that before. That's cool.
No, fuck. Yes. That was my thing. And my people in, you know,
recovery,
they will tell you, like, Carole was at every dance. She would dance from the start to the finish. Justin was in a stroller chopped up against a speaker. My kid could sleep through a fucking train wreck.
Wow.
Yeah, but I danced my ass off.
Wow.
Yeah, I did.
That's cool.
So my first 2 years clean was basically like
Dances.
I would probably talk through the speaker and then secretary's report. Where's the next
Where's the
function?
next dance?
Yeah, and that
Oh, that's cool.
I'm a party girl.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
How's your journey been, since then?
Oh God, it's been up and down. Right now it's on the up. It's been on the up for about 5 or 6 years. So I came in here, I got clean. I leave freaking the rehab situation. I got my own place. I'm raising my son. I'm doing everything in my power to like raise this really independent, strong human being because like getting clean and just taking care of yourself is one thing. Getting clean and having to take care of a kid too, that's pretty tough. And many times I felt like, you know what, I'm done. It was just too much. So those times were like up and down, very rocky for me. But I had women, strong parents in my life, and they taught me what to do.
Did you get custody of Jason?
I never tried. I just thought I wasn't gonna make it.
And what about Justin?
Justin, I never had any courts or anything with him.
Yeah, but you guys have like a good relationship and everything.
Yeah, we have a pretty good relationship, an excellent relationship, I think. I mean, like any 22-year-old, because he's 22 now, he survived, right? He survived me with all my craziness. And don't get me wrong, I was not like a perfect parent because I dragged my son to meetings. He went to meetings. If I wanted to go to one at midnight, he's coming. Conventions all over the place. Yeah, he's coming. Me sleeping with 15 people in one room to economize or whatever to go to Marco Island. He's coming. But he had a fun life. Here's the difference. So my older son, of course, he's resentful, as he probably should be, because I didn't raise him. So when I give him suggestions, I'm running his life. When I give Justin suggestions, he's like, oh, it's just a suggestion.
Yeah.
He was raised around recovering people, and he knows my story. I told my kids my story as soon as I could. As soon as I thought they could understand, I told them. Like, you don't have to, but if you do, and even now, I don't ask them, are you drinking? Do you have a problem? I don't. But I've always told them, if you find yourself drinking and say you want to stop and you can't stop, call me. Yeah, but my journey has been awesome. I mean, I had some gut-wrenching times in recovery. I never relapsed. I had one white key tag. Once I realized that life was good, and when I say life is good, I don't mean everything was perfect, but life was good. I was no longer homeless. And guess what? I was in rehab when I went to court. They gave me like 18 months probation and supervision or whatever. And because I stayed clean, they cut that shit to 9 months.
Yeah.
In 9 months, I was free of the freaking system. So I realized that
when you're using probation, it's like never ending. It's always going on.
Right.
It seems so hard to, like, how am I ever going to do probation?
Exactly.
This is impossible. I can't even get a speeding ticket. They'll throw me in. It seems like but when you're clean, it's like
nothing.
It's like.
Yeah, it was almost brainless. I never wondered if my urine was going to be clean or whatever. I knew
you
it
have
was
to
clean.
show up to your probation officer once a week. It's nothing.
Yeah. But the first time I got arrested, I had my freaking sister-in-law peeing, and I would put in a condom, stick it between my tits, and keep it warm, and then, drop. And it was always clean.
So you've been clean a long time.
I've been clean 22 years, and I didn't do anything special. The only thing special that I did, Brian, is like, I don't know anybody that I got high with. I don't know anyone. I didn't really have real friends out there anyway. They were get high buddies. Yeah. So I don't get high. So I don't need to be looking up those people. I don't look them up. So people, places, things, don't get me wrong. I partied my ass off in these rooms, in these
recovery.
In recovery, I partied. I've gone to outside clubs. Don't get me wrong, but definitely with a group. It's a bunch of us. Yeah. And then when I had maybe like at some point, then Madi and I started going, that's my wife. Madi and I started going out like once in a blue moon. We'd meet people someplace. Or
was it hard coming out when you got?
When I got clean, it was hard coming out to my family, not to the people I didn't really care about these people. At first I wanted to still stay in the closet because it's more comfortable in the closet, right? You don't get the comments and all that, guys saying, I'll fuck you straight, baby, stuff like that. Like I started getting that after I came out, like, what I wouldn't do, right?
Yeah.
Being in recovery, it allowed me to like, not say embrace, but just admit that part, that side. because it would have been easy to say I'm bisexual, but like I'm not. I did what I had to do when I was out there to get drugs, but I always had a girlfriend. Coming out to my family, Jamaica West Indies family, was very tough. I got married in 2018. None of the old people came to my...
Wow.
The only people from my family that came were my cousins, like the younger people.
Yeah.
My cousins, my niece, my brother, one of my brothers. Yeah.
Why do you think some people stay clean and some people use?
I can tell you why I stayed clean and that I haven't used yet. The reason I haven't used yet is because I get to be real. I don't have to pretend. I can live and be who I am, because I think being closeted and whatever and being so fearful of society like kept me in the dark. Because getting high, I was always in the dark. I lived a dark lifestyle. I was always out at night, unless I was out there on a hustle or whatever. But just being able to be myself keeps me clean. And I do the work.
Yeah.
I do the work. Like, I do what people tell me to do. And I think that's what keeps me clean, is that I stay focused on, like, this is what I want. And what I want is happy, joyous, and free. I want life with a home. I want to be in a home. I want stability. I want to know where my next meal is coming from. And I never knew that when I was using.
Yeah.
I never knew it. I have basic needs. Basic. Yeah.
Hey, thank you for coming on the show. I was thinking to myself, like, I never heard Karyl speak. So it's cool to get to know you more and to hear your story.
Yep.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, always. I love you, Bryan.
Love you too. Thank you so much. This show is not affiliated with any specific 12-step program. If you or a loved one is struggling with an addiction, please find a local 12-step meeting. If you believe you may need detox or drug treatment of any kind, please call 833-999-1877 to speak to a specialist. The show is sponsored by United Recovery Project, a state-of-the-art drug and alcohol rehab facility. You can visit our website at unitedrecoveryproject.com.